A suitcase glides silently past you at the airport. Boxes march in perfect lines inside a warehouse. Groceries appear right in front of a cashier like magic. No engines in sight, no visible force pushing them forward. But here's the strange part. That simple strip of rubber or metal is part of a system so efficient it quietly powers entire industries. From mining deep underground to delivering your online orders, it never sleeps, never gets tired, and rarely gets noticed. So what's really happening beneath that moving surface? What hidden mechanics turn a simple loop into one of the most important machines in modern life? How do conveyor belts actually work? Let's find out together, right here, on History of Simple Things. At its core, a conveyor belt is surprisingly simple. It's essentially a continuous loop of material that rotates around two or more pulleys. One pulley is powered, usually by an electric motor, while the others guide and support the belt. When the motor turns the drive pulley, friction between the pulley and the belt causes the belt to move. That movement carries anything placed on top of it from one point to another. Think of it like a treadmill, but instead of people running, it's objects being transported. The genius lies not in complexity, but in consistency. Once it starts moving, it can keep going for hours, days, even years with minimal interruption. What looks like a simple moving strip is actually supported by a carefully designed system underneath. The belt itself is often made of rubber, fabric, or metal, depending on what it needs to carry. Beneath it are rollers, sometimes called idlers, spaced at regular intervals. These rollers reduce friction and help the belt maintain its shape as it moves. The drive pulley is connected to a motor, which provides the force needed to keep everything moving. There's also a tail pulley at the opposite end, helping guide the belt back around to complete the loop. Then there's the tensioning system. This part keeps the belt tight enough to prevent slipping, but not so tight that it wears out quickly. Too loose and the belt won't move efficiently. Too tight and it could snap or damage the motor. The real magic of a conveyor belt is how rotational motion becomes forward movement. When the motor spins the drive pulley, it creates rotational energy. Through friction, that energy transfers to the belt, pulling it along. As the belt moves, anything resting on it moves with it due to friction between the object and the belt surface. It's a simple chain of forces. Motor spins, pulley turns, belt moves, objects travel. But here's what makes it powerful. This process can happen continuously without stopping. Unlike lifting or carrying items one at a time, conveyor belts create a steady flow. That flow is what makes them indispensable in places like factories and warehouses. Not all conveyor belts are the same. In fact, they're designed differently depending on their purpose. Flat belt conveyors are the most common, used for moving everyday items like packages or groceries. They're simple, reliable, and efficient. Then there are modular belt conveyors made of interlocking plastic pieces. These are often used in food processing because they're easy to clean and maintain. Roller conveyors, on the other hand, use a series of rotating cylinders instead of a continuous belt. These are ideal for heavier loads like pallets. And in mining or heavy industry, you'll find reinforced conveyor belts made of steel or thick rubber, capable of carrying tons of material over long distances. Each type is built to handle specific challenges, but the core principle remains the same. One of the biggest challenges with conveyor belts is keeping them aligned. If a belt shifts too far to one side, it can wear unevenly or even fall off the system entirely. To prevent this, Engineers use tracking systems that gently guide the belt back into position. Rollers can be angled slightly to steer the belt, and sensors can detect misalignment before it becomes a problem. There are also edge guides and automatic correction systems in more advanced setups. These ensure that even during heavy use, the belt stays centered and stable. Without proper tracking, even the most powerful conveyor system would quickly fail. Not all conveyor belts move at the same speed. In fact, speed control is a crucial part of their design. Electric motors can be adjusted to change how fast the belt moves. In some systems, sensors detect the number of items on the belt and adjust the speed accordingly. For example, in a factory assembly line, slowing down the belt might give workers more time to complete a task. In contrast, speeding it up increases production when demand is high. Some conveyor systems are even synchronized with robotic arms or sorting machines, creating a perfectly timed sequence of movement. It's not just about moving things, it's about moving them at exactly the right pace. Conveyor belts are everywhere, even if you don't always notice them. At airports, they transport luggage from check-in to the plane. In supermarkets, they bring your items to the cashier. In factories, they connect every stage of production, from raw materials to finished products. Even amusement parks use conveyor systems to move people safely onto rides. And in massive distribution centers like those used for online shopping, conveyor belts form intricate networks that sort, scan, and route packages with incredible speed and accuracy. They're the silent backbone of modern logistics. What looks like a simple moving strip is actually a carefully engineered system of motion, balance, and precision. A loop that never ends, quietly carrying the weight of modern life. From the smallest grocery item to the largest industrial load, conveyor belts keep everything in motion, reliably, efficiently, and almost invisibly. So the next time you see one in action, you'll know there's more going on beneath the surface than meets the eye. And that brings us back to the question we started with. How do conveyor belts work? Now you know. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.